What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning back into the Blake Builds channel. It's been a while since I've uploaded a video, and I've just been really busy and not doing much. So today we actually have a celebrity guest on the channel. James Simonovich over at Night Owl Performance is going to show us how to put a 350Z diff into a 240SX subframe and raise it up so it's not on the ground so much, not so low to the ground. And he's going to walk you through how he does that, how he modifies the subframe, how he mounts the diff, and all that. And enjoy for now.
Alright, so we got a S14 subframe here. Gotta get a couple of these stock bushings out. Some of them have been removed already. Some of them, actually, only the diff and that one is still in. We're going to be using the GK Tech conversion bushings for the subframe to put it into an S13. Right now, it's got a S13 diff. Yeah, I know, it's extremely dirty. It's got an S13 diff, drive shaft shop axles with a just welded diff in it that I have completely destroyed for the second or third time. We're going to be putting in a 350Z diff. I got a couple, and the 350Z axles also. To do the diff conversion, GK Tech also sells these bushings to put them in the S14 subframe, which is fine. This one right here is going to be this bushing, just like on the Z. It only uses one, and they want you to put it in, I believe, this way. So the stud sits on the bottom, which is fine, and you can do it that way, but the biggest problem is you're going to have your diff sitting way low because the stud is going to be here, unlike it should be up here. So you can put these bushings in without doing anything, and the diff will fit. You won't have any issues other than ground clearance. That thing has a 4-inch, not oval, just a regular 4-inch round exhaust, and it sits pretty low. So if I lower the diff, it's going to be even worse, and I'm trying to avoid that. The one way you can change this, and GK Tech won't tell you about it because it's not really direct fit. That's not really what these bushings are designed for. They're designed for someone to just get them, put them in the subframe, put the diff in, and be ready to go. The way to solve this issue is to section this part right here. Basically, you want to cut out a portion out of it, which we'll have to measure out, and I'll show you in this video, to make the two mounts sit flush. Once they're sitting flush, you can use this bushing and install it in this way, which is the way we want it, unlike this, and it should raise the diff up and provide a lot of ground clearance. This car right here has that done already. I'll have to pull off the hatch and see if I can show you a better clip of it here in a second. Alright, let's see if we can see here. So, right there, you can see that the single bushing is actually set the way that you want it for clearance. You can also see the diff is pretty level. Let's go check out the other side. Alright, so it's kind of hard to tell, but it is cut. You can see right there that it's actually sitting pretty flush, and that's what we want. We want to cut out basically about that much. The width of the diff ear itself looks to be about right. This is one that was done a couple years ago. After we installed the bushings, put everything together, and realized that the pinion angle was way too far off. Now that we've learned from that, we can kind of correct it, and I just want to make this video so you you guys have something to reference. There, it's pretty much impossible to find anything online about it. So there's a ton of ways to get these bushings out. You can burn them, you can chisel them, you can cut them, whatever. There's not really a wrong way. If you do have one of these, this thing is amazing. Air hammer is a huge benefit to have. It makes getting these bushings out pretty easy. You don't have to cut it, you don't have to do any burning, any stuff like that. You pretty much just chisel the sleeve out with the bushing and all. So that's what we're going to be doing. It's probably going to be loud as hell, so I'm not going to be saying anything, but let's get these couple bushings out and then I'll explain the next process. If you can see, kind of went all the way around the edge. I think it's about to come out.
1 hour later.
This thing is ready to come out. Alright, so this thing's pretty hammered, but still less time than just setting it on fire or any of that stuff. Alright, now that I got that bushing out, next one, I gotta get these two bushings out and then move on to getting those two out of the diff. Alright, so we got these bushings out. Came out pretty easily, kind of like they were supposed to, not like this thing. So next up, the version is you gotta take these bushings out. As you can see, it's already starting to come out because this time I wasn't an idiot and I'm doing exactly what I said. Alright, now that they're both out, we can set that aside until it's time to put those in. Alright, so clean the table off a little bit, just kind of lay some stuff out and explain. So I got those bushings out of the diff. I'm going to be doing the same thing to the spare diff. I'm going to weld this one, weld the other one, and that way at the track I can swap them out. I've got a spare set of axles also. Going away from the drive shaft shop axles just because this is simple, and even though I've never had a single problem with those axles, they've been great. I've had the car running at various power. I mean, I have ton of grip dialed into this thing, run low tire pressure. You know, right now it makes a little over 650. Ran it, you know, right around 500 before, plenty of events, different tracks, different tire pressures. Never had a problem with the axles. The only reason I'm using those 350Z axles over there is because I'm doing the 350Z diff. I'll probably keep these and hold on to them. Who knows, might be able to use them for something else. So with this subframe, with all the bushings removed, I'm going to clean up all the areas that the new bushings are going to go in. I'm also going to scuff up the entire subframe, and I'm going to use this GK Tech reinforcement kit here. Let's see, I believe, nope, upside down. Whichever way they go, yeah, they go like this. So they kind of stiffen everything up. They're going to box in this arm down here, which is great. I don't think this is FD legal if I remember right, which I really could care less. I don't feel like wasting a bunch of money on FD. The one downfall of a 350Z diff is it only has one stud. A bunch of different companies, including GK Tech, make the brace for a 350Z, but since this diff is going in the S14 subframe, it's slightly different. GK Tech came up with this brace, very similar, except I do believe it goes on the outside here. I think you have to drill holes. I gotta double check, which basically means I'm not going to be reusing this one, or I'm not going to be using this brace, but I am going to cut it probably right here and kind of clearance it for this brace, because I definitely want these to hold it up along with that, which I think it actually goes something like that. Gotta figure it out. Regardless, the rest of these kind of go on these arms to box stuff in and kind of, you know, stiffen up the subframe. Basically, to get the height correct, we need a section an inch out of this. So it needs to drop down an inch, basically roughly the size of that ear. You know, if that ear is, I think, 1.23 or something, but once we cut this out, you know, cutting it's going to eat up some of the material, and we'll adjust from there. The way I'm going to do this, I mean, it's probably several different ways you can do it, but I'm going to cut here, I'm going to cut here, and then I'm going to cut through here to pull this whole chunk out. Then I'm going to section an inch out of this. When we place it back in, it's going to sit back in, hopefully flush, probably not, but we'll see. And then I'm going to build some plates, or cut some plates out, just to block this off so stuff doesn't get in there, and for it to be more structurally sound. Alright, let's get to cutting. Using Sawzall blades, but I have a plasma cutter, and this is easier. Alright, so I was going to use Sawzall. Started to realize I have this plasma cutter because we've got a CNC plasma table. I'm sure you've seen it on Blake's videos before. So, made it a little easier on myself. Made it a lot cleaner. Basically, now we have to section an inch out of this. And it should pretty much, probably won't right now, but pretty much set back into place just like that. Alright, just showing you guys that it does go back into place. Just not from the top, from the side. Kind of do one-handed, you get the idea. So 1 inch out of here, which I'm going to measure up, cut it out, and then we're going to cut some plates to block this off once this is recessed, because we're going to have a gap. So marked out 1 inch, kind of on the curve, just measured it out. Going to cut that out and go to test fit. Alright, so doing some cleanup, fit up. Forgot to film, but basically need to trim some more off the sides here. Guess I didn't really get enough, so I'm gonna do that and see how it fits. Alright, so I skipped a few steps because I'm not a vlogger and I forget about this camera, but I've got the diff set in place. We got these bushings in and the bushing front in, pretty self-explanatory. So I have it all set up. I got that piece cleaned up, made sure everything is level, the diff, the subframe, what the subframe is sitting on, got some measurements to determine the center of the diff and the length front to back, and put some tacks on it. Now it's time to unbolt everything, remove the diff, clearance this spot right here to put some plates and cut those plates out, get everything welded up, and should be good to go from then. Alright guys, so I got it cleaned up. Once again, didn't really film too much, but I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen welding on Blake's channel before. Cleaned it up, then I kind of cleaned the table off. So, got it all welded up. Yeah, it's not great, but gotta clean that up a little bit. But got it all welded up. Got it sectioned down. You can tell that I dropped it a little over an inch. Got everything test fit. It's all good. Gonna make another pass. Make sure it's all welded up and all clean and good. Then we'll install a diff and I'll show you the finished product. Alright, so just did a second pass. Went over it a little, give it a little bit of strength, even though it was fun to begin with. So now I'm going to move on to prepping these surfaces right here and getting all of these gussets on there. Once that's done, I'll touch base on everything we went through. Alright, so I did a little bit of grinding around these gussets to get them welded on. Just cleaned up a little bit. Got them all test fit, make sure that they fit as they need to. And now I'm just gonna weld them in place. It comes with instructions if you guys need them. Alright, so got some stuff cleaned up, got these braces welded on there, and just wanted to show the finished product other than the bushings. I don't know if that's going to be this video, I'll leave that up to Blake. So we got it modified, got the diff dropped so the pinion angle is right and it actually doesn't touch the ground when you drive. This is the angle that you'd see behind the car. This brace that GK Tech sells does not fit if you do it this way. It only fits if you keep the diff bushings set the way they are for a direct bolt in. You don't modify it. So I pretty much had to cut this thing up. I'd say it was a waste of money to buy it, so if you have the ability to make one, just go ahead and do that. Yeah, it's pretty much ready to go in the car. Gotta put the bushings in and bolt everything up.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something. If you're putting a 350Z diff in your 240SX, this is the only place on the internet that you can learn how to do it. This information is literally nowhere else on YouTube. We haven't been able to find it. That's why we made this video. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button if you use this tutorial. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, still hit the like button. And because it's good for the algorithm. Leave a comment if you have a question. I'll ask James to answer them. And thanks for watching. See you next time.